the frequency of coherence, resonance, consciousness, and inner awakening in the Gospel of Thomas. The Gospel of Thomas operates on a frequency rather than a framework. It does not present a linear theology, a moral code, or a system of belief to be accepted. Instead, it speaks directly to perception, addressing the reader at the level of consciousness itself. Its sayings functions less as teachings to be learned and more as instruments designed to restore coherence between awareness and reality. To engage Thomas properly is not to analyze it for meaning, but to allow it to recalibrate how meaning is perceived. Coherence within the Gospel of Thomas is not intellectual consistency, but inner alignment. When Yeshua speaks, he assumes that something within the listener already knows how to recognize truth. The sayings do not add information, they remove distortion. As false assumptions, inherited beliefs, and conditioned interpretations fall away, perception begins to align with what is actually present. Coherence emerges naturally when awareness is no longer divided, when seeing, knowing, and being are no longer in conflict. Resonance is the mechanism by which this coherence is felt. A saying from Thomas does not convince, it resonates, or it doesn't. When resonance occurs, it is immediate and unmistakable. Something within the listener responds before the mind can intervene. This response is not emotional excitement or agreement, but recognition. A quiet, stabilizing confirmation that what is being encountered is already familiar. Resonance reveals that truth is not foreign. It has simply been obscured by habit, noise, and external authority. Consciousness, as presented in the Gospel of Thomas, is not a philosophical abstraction. It is the field in which perception happens. Yeshua repeatedly directs attention away from outward structures, institutions, rituals, hierarchies, and back toward direct seeing. Whoever has ears to hear, let them hear, is not a call to obedience, but an invitation to awaken perceptual capacity. Consciousness here is active, discerning, and precise. It is the faculty that allows one to see without distortion when it is no longer dulled by fear, belief, or expectation. Inner awakening in Thomas is not a future event, nor is it a reward granted by authority. It is a present state shift, a return to clarity that was always possible. Awakening occurs when perception turns inward and recognizes that the source of wisdom, sight, and life has never been external. This is why Thomas insists that the kingdom is already spread out upon the earth, yet unseen. Nothing new needs to be created, only perception needs to be restored. The sayings of Thomas are unsettling because they disrupt familiar patterns of thought. They invert logic, challenge certainty, and refuse to provide comfort through explanation. This disruption is intentional. Inner awakening does not occur through accumulation of knowledge, but through the collapse of false structures. When those structures dissolve, awareness becomes supple again, capable of responding to reality as it is, rather than through inherited filters. Over time, sustained engagement with the Gospel of Thomas produces a noticeable shift. The sayings lose their edge, not because they have been mastered, but because their work has been done. What once provoked tension now rests in clarity. Reaction gives way to presence. The need to persuade, defend, or convince fades. Life is no longer approached as a problem to solve, but as a reality to be seen. In this way, the Gospel of Thomas transmits a frequency of coherence, resonance, consciousness, and awakening, not through doctrine, but through direct encounter. It calls the reader back to an original capacity for seeing that predates belief, and survives the collapse of illusion. Those who allow the text to do its work find that nothing has been added to them. Instead, something has been removed, and in that removal, clarity remains.